Well, it almost felt that the race was getting too boring after the first 4 laps, or after the fact that Nyck de Vries, who everybody thought who stopped the car near turn 5, and everybody thought that he's just going to reverse it, and he's just going to go forward, and then everybody felt that that's why there was a yellow flag, and never understood that he has clipped the wall, and he doesn't have a front left tire. Welcome to another episode of Sports with Monga, where we're reviewing a race which could have been borderline boring, not for the only to get exciting when Alpine's Ocon decided to get into the pits on the last lap. And we had photographers waiting for him on the pit entry. That was just amazing to watch. How do FIA manage to mess stuff up? Every race. There's always something, right? We can't just have a clean, boring race. No, there has to be something. But the man of the moment, the man, legend of streets, the king of Baku, Mr. Sergio Perez from Red Bull, got lucky, I would say. Wouldn't you say that? I would say we got lucky with the fact that Max Verstappen got unlucky with when the safety car came out, exactly in those laps around the 13th lap where Nyck de Vries' car is stranded on the turn 5, and then everybody's thinking that he's going to reverse and move on, but then, well, he can't. He's stuck, and then deployed, and in that kind of quandary, or in that situation, Red Bull calls in Max Verstappen for the hard tire switch. Perez then takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Leclerc is, he's still leading kind of in a way, but then Perez takes the lead. Leclerc comes in second. Verstappen is third, and then you feel, okay, what's going to happen here? What really happened was the safety car was deployed, and then Max lost the lead of the race because of that. But then there was a flurry of activity in the pit lane, with everybody kind of getting in. Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Alonso. What was pretty interesting to see is Hamilton also lost out because he went early in the pits, along with Russell didn't. But then there were a couple of people like Ocon who went in early for a pit stop as well. But then that didn't help them because it was neutralized after the safety car. And then it began to be a pretty boring race, I would say. The only action at the start where kind of Leclerc is trying to fend off or trying to fight with Perez, but then at the start that was not possible. Leclerc is then under pressure from Max Verstappen, who then kind of passes him in the lap 2. And then you see the ballsy moves of Mr. Alonso on Sainz. That was just crazy. How did he? There is no space. I'm like, Sainz is kind of boxed in because of Leclerc. He's following Leclerc after the restart from the safety car. But then it was just amazing to watch how Alonso is he's 40, guys. He's 40 years old, and he makes moves like that with Sainz, and it makes Sainz look like a kid. Well, comparing them with ages, that would have been the case. But then that is what it is, and that's what the situation was. That was the most exciting part. Of course, the fact that Alonso then pips and gets Sainz as well. And then he's kind of very, very close to Mr. Leclerc to kind of get his fourth podium. He was only 6/10 off from Leclerc. I think Ferrari managed the race well because there was a lot of race management at the end of it, to be very honest. But then that's what Alonso does. Alonso is amazing. That's what we have to understand here. And that's kind of the thing where you feel Stroll as well went down, Russell went back. That's kind of interesting, right? I just to kind of walk over the results, how they ended. Perez finishing on the top step of the podium, Verstappen second, Leclerc third, Fernando Alonso fourth, Sainz fifth, Hamilton sixth, Stroll seventh, Russell P8, Norris funny enough that McLaren scored points. P9, Tsunoda, P10, that was good. He needed some confidence after a horrendous incident yesterday in the sprint race, with his tire kind of going down the straights. Piastri, P11, Albon, P12, Magnussen, P13, Gasly, P14, Ocon, P15, Sargent, Hulkenberg, Bottas, 16, 17, and 18, respectively. Joe Yu had to bow out. He did not finish, and De Vries caused the mayhem in the first start of the Grand Prix. A forgetful race for Alfa Romeo, I would say. Bottas he went in the pits, changed the tires, and he went back in to change another tire. I didn't understand why it was that happening. I don't see Alfa Romeo having their wits about them, like what's happening with that team right now. There's a lot of chatter around Sauber, their operations. It's a little shaky in my mind what's happening right there. Hulkenberg, he was at one point P12, but then I think he dropped. And that was one of those things where he did not pit after the hard compounds in the early, and got pipped and got unlucky with the safety car as well. And with his teammate Magnussen finishing P13. Alpine was like nowhere, P14 and 15 for them. It was pretty strange the way it ended for the French outfit there. Williams, Albon, and Sargent. Sargent was lucky enough to kind of get in some, he's not finishing last because he didn't even have the sprint race, because after the damage that his car had after the qualifying. But then I think it's all about Red Bull. There's nothing more to talk about. It's just about like Verstappen and Perez in my mind, and how do they go about it? Because eventually, when everybody feels the driver's standing, Verstappen is 93 points, and Sergio Perez right now is 87 points. Alonso's the third, 60 points, with Hamilton at 48. Sainz and Leclerc are still like 34 and 28 respectively. So it's a pretty big gap between first, second, and third, I would say. But then the first and second is just separated by 6 points. 93 for Mr. Max Verstappen and 97 for Sergio Perez. And that's the battle. That's the battle we wanted. That's the battle we wanted to see. We wanted to see the fact that, Sergio Perez brings the fight to Mr. Max Verstappen to make it a little bit harder, a little bit interesting. Otherwise, Max Verstappen was just, pick this out simply in my mind. Of course, some more inter-team battles around the way to see how Mercedes I think Russell went backwards, and he felt it, that he didn't have a great start after the safety car went out, because Hamilton was able to pip him pretty quickly. And Aston Martin's was pretty interesting to see how Fernando Alonso in the middle of the race is basically telling his his engineer to tell Stroll to take his brake balance or his car balance, because it's going to help him. I'm just thinking, does Alonso also do tax calculations when he is racing? I'm just thinking. I'm like, what can this man not think when he's racing, and they're racing at 340 kilometers per hour? Like, he has so much time to even think of, yeah, this is getting boring. I think I should help Stroll. What is he up to? Hello, Stroll. Wow. McLaren, a little, a good step to them from the disastrous first 3 races. Of course, it's still early days, but then this kind of gives you a glimpse of, the upgrades that they're bringing, how there's going to move and stuff, and, with the team. But it is Mr. Perez only who can challenge right now Max Verstappen, and that's what we are looking forward to. The next race in 1 week's time is Miami, the Formula One Crypto.com Miami Grand Prix, 5th to 7th May. I'm going to do another video regarding the sprint qualifying and what my thoughts and what's next happening, where's the next sprint qualifying, to just kind of catch up on that. But on this occasion, for this video, Checo Perez, the Mexican, the king of Baku, does it again, or does it again, I would say from yesterday after you won the sprint race to win it in the actual race, to go through and win it. And he beat Max Verstappen fair and square. There is nothing anybody can tell me right now to tell that Max Verstappen was he has a challenger. He's not going to have it easy. That's pretty clear, and that's amazing that Red Bull is making sure that there is a race at hand. Otherwise, we can just pack this season up right now. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think? Who was your favorite driver? Of course, Sergio Perez winning the driver of the day. But what was your favorite moment? Was there any moment? They were everybody clipping the walls, but the cars didn't break down. At least seems that the left was more weaker than the right. But then anything could have happened. Nobody pitted again. Nobody from the top pack pitted again to kind of make it interesting. Everybody knew that it's going to be a one-stop race. The new tarmac, maybe next year we're going to have a different thing. But let me know in the comments section what do you think about this video, about the race. Do like this video, do share, and do subscribe, and catch us on Instagram as well. On Instagram with Sports with Munga. Do you want me to do a Instagram live? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see who. Let me know in the DMs how do you feel about it. But then until the next time, see you in Miami.